Throughout this program, we're going to go through different types of financial aid that we offer at Kent State University. There are two types of financial aid. The first type of financial aid is gift aid. Gift aid would be scholarships and grants. We call those gift aid because you do not have to repay them. So it's like a gift. We also offer self-help aid, which includes loans and federal work study. For loans, the student would borrow that money, but would be required to pay it back. With federal work study, the student can work on campus and earn a paycheck that they can use to assist with covering educational expenses. First, let's talk about federal gift aid. The federal Pell Grant is based on the Expected Family Contribution Number, or EFC. The Pell Grant is need-based and determined by your enrollment. If you are a less than half-time student, you would get less than a student who is going full-time. The amount awarded for this grant would be split, half for the fall semester and half for the spring semester. We also have another grant that is called the Teach Grant. The Teach Grant stands for Teacher Education Assistance for college and higher education. For example, if you are going into middle childhood education, you could potentially be eligible for this grant. This is one of our only grants that is not need-based. This is for students that are in an education program and that plan on working at a low-income school in a high-need field. You would have to have a 3.25 GPA or come in with a qualifying test score about the 75th percentile. With the Teach Grant, it can go into an unsubsidized loan if the requirements are not met. Students are required to work in a low-income school in a high-need field for at least 4 years after they have completed the program. You have 8 years to do that. If you do not meet those requirements, then that Teach Grant is going to go back into an unsubsidized loan, with the interest dating back to the first time you ever accepted the grant. Another federal grant that we have is the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. You must have a 0 EFC to receive this grant. There are priority processing deadlines for this grant as well. February 15th is when we want you to have your FAFSA completed, and March 1st is when we want to have received your FAFSA, if not sooner. The reason we require the priority processing date is because programs like this, funding is very limited. Students who get their FAFSA in later and have an expected family contribution of 0 may not qualify for this grant because of the date we receive their FAFSA. So be sure to pay close attention to those priority dates. Next is state gift aid. For those of you who are from Ohio, you could potentially be eligible for the Ohio College Opportunity Grant. You must have an EFC of 2190 or less in order to be eligible for this program, and attend the Kent campus at least 51%. For Pennsylvania residents, you also have a state grant. For the Ohio College Opportunity Grant, you need no separate application to be reviewed for your eligibility. For FIA, they require you to apply separately, not just with your FAFSA. You will need to log on to www.fia.org and review their state grant application process in order to be eligible. Let's talk about self-help aid. Federal work study is something that is need-based and is offered based on the information that you gave us on the FAFSA. Your EFC and your need will determine if you are eligible for federal work study. If you are unsure if you will qualify for work study, but are still interested, you will need to answer yes to the question, "Are you interested in receiving work study?" on the FAFSA. Kent State will then determine if you are eligible. What's confusing about this is that you're going to see this on your actual award letter that you receive from Kent State. However, this is not applying to your bill we generated for your tuition and room and board. This is earned money. As you are working, this is how you are getting paid, through federal work study. Some of you might be thinking, well, I can't work on campus then because I'm not going to be eligible for federal work study. That is not true. We also have university-funded employment. You can still get a job on campus. Your paycheck will just be funded through the university or department in which you are working, and not through federal work study. If you are interested in working on campus, we encourage that because the departments will work around your schedule. We know you are a student first. Contact Career Services if you are interested in working for either. You can go online and see the job postings that are available. Another self-help program is the federal Perkins loan. This is a loan, which means that it is borrowed money and that you are required to pay it back. This loan is in the student's name, and it is the student who is responsible for paying back that loan. You do need to have financial need in order to be eligible for the Perkins loan. The Perkins loan program, unfortunately, has been scheduled to end on September 30th, 2017. Availability is uncertain beyond that date. If you're going into the nursing program, you can potentially be eligible for additional loan programs. When you come into Kent State as a new freshman and you plan to go into nursing, they typically put you into the pre-nursing program because you haven't been fully admitted into the nursing program yet. Once you are, you could be eligible for the Federal Student Nursing Loan. This is the same for the Nurse Education Assistance Loans Program, referred to as NEALP. The repayment begins 9 months after a student ceases half-time enrollment or after the program is completed. If you are interested in the NEALP program, you will need to complete an application with the Ohio Department of Higher Education, and that is typically done between January 1st and July 15th of each year. The next type of loan we will talk about are federal direct loans. There are 2 different types of federal direct loans, subsidized and unsubsidized. Your FAFSA information is used to determine your eligibility of these loans. Subsidized loans are for students with financial need, and the interest is paid that occurs monthly by the federal government. It will not start accumulated interest until the student ceases enrollment of less than half time, which is 6 credit hours, or once they have graduated. For unsubsidized loans, the government does not pay the interest on the loan while you are in school. It starts accruing interest from the moment it is disbursed. Everybody is eligible for an unsubsidized loan regardless of what your income is, or what your expected family contribution is on the FAFSA. Students are not required to start making payments on the interest of these loans. There is a 6-month grace period, and the interest rates are subject to change every July 1st. So keep that in mind each year as to how much loan money you want to borrow, and if it's the right fit for you. Depending on your year in college, we are going to offer you a different amount of direct loans. For incoming freshmen, if you are eligible for a subsidized loan, you could get $3,500 in a subsidized loan and an additional $2,000 in an unsubsidized loan. If you are not eligible for a subsidized loan, you will be offered the full $5,500 in unsubsidized loans as a freshman. That will be split half for fall semester and half for spring semester. As you advance in levels from freshman to sophomore and then sophomore to junior, we are going to offer you an additional $1,000. These are guidelines that are set by the federal government, not Kent State. Once you become a sophomore, you can get $4,500 of subsidized loans and then $2,000 in unsubsidized loans for a $6,500 total. As juniors and seniors, you are eligible for $7,500 total, so it can be a maximum of $5,500 subsidized loans and then $2,000 in unsubsidized loans. There are federal program lifetime limits. For direct loans, your maximum eligibility for a dependent student is $31,000. Out of that $31,000, $23,000 of it can be in a subsidized loan and a limit of 6 years for a bachelor's degree. For the Pell Grant, you have 6 years eligibility, which is the equivalent of 12 full-time semesters. The Teach Grant, you can borrow a total of $16,000 as an undergraduate student. And for the Ohio College Opportunity Grant, you can receive that for up to 10 full-time semesters. Next, we will talk about accepting your financial aid in Flashline. If you are not familiar with Flashline, you will want to get comfortable with it because the financial aid office is going to use this as our form of communication. Admissions is using it to keep you up to pace with all the guidelines and to get you all situated for your freshman year using your checklist. The financial aid office is also going to contact you through that Flashline account. For incoming freshmen, this is the only year you are going to get a paper award letter. Every year after, you will be required to log into Flashline to view your financial aid awards. That's why we want you to get comfortable with Flashline. Going forward, this is where you are going to go to see your awards that you have been offered. You need to accept those awards you want in Flashline. All grants, except the Teach Grant, are automatically going to be accepted for you because we know you want the gift aid. For loans in Teach, these will be in offered status, and it's up to you to decide what you would like to accept. It's your choice to make. If you see the amount out there is what you want to borrow, but maybe you do not need the full $3,500, you can enter a partial award amount that you would like to accept. These will all be divided between fall and spring semesters. Again, the only grant that will not be accepted is the Teach Grant, and that is because with the Teach Grant, it can go into an unsubsidized loan if the requirements are not met. Once you have accepted your loans, there are going to be requirements that you need to complete in order for those to pay onto your account. Visit www.studentloans.gov. You're going to log in using your FSAID username or email address along with your FSAID password. Once you sign in with all that information, this is what the page is going to look like. 2 things for federal direct loans that you must complete in order for your loan to disperse are entrance counseling and signing a master promissory note. The entrance counseling is going to educate you on the rights and responsibilities of borrowing a loan. The master promissory note is your promise to repay that loan that you have borrowed. To complete these requirements, you're going to click on Complete Entrance Counseling, and then you're going to do Complete a Master Promissory Note. This is also where you would apply for a Parent Plus loan. What is a Federal Direct Parent Plus loan? This is a parent loan that would be in the parent's name that would apply to the student's account. We will talk about how we can determine how much you would want to borrow on that Parent Plus loan. It is available after June 1st, and the parent must apply for this. The parent will log in with their FSAID that you used electronically to sign the FAFSA. Once you sign in, select the part that says Apply for a Plus loan. Then, select the option Complete Plus Request for Parents. You must have completed the FAFSA first in order to apply for the Parent Plus loan. It is also dependent on credit contingency. So if you have the credit, you will be likely optimal for this loan. If you are thinking right now there is no way they are going to give you a loan, FAFSA has an endorser option as well. This loan is for a parent or step-parent who is on the FAFSA for this student. This is a loan where you would start making interest-only payments, but there are deferment options. That is something you can do on federal loan servicing. If that is not the way you want to go at all, you maybe want to look into an alternative loan. That would be through a bank or a credit union. This is going to help with the education costs beyond the state and federal aid. This is also a credit-based loan and would be in the student's name. Most students would require a cosigner. It does not have to be mom or dad. It can be any credit-worthy adult who is willing to cosign for the student. We also have a Fast Choice link on the financial aid website that you can compare what lenders are offering. You can review up to 5 different loan options at one time using this website. There is also Veterans Educational Benefit. Post 9/11, there is a GI Bill that students are eligible to receive if you have a veteran parent or guardianship of that student. The Dependents Educational Assistance is something we have as well. You will want to contact the Center for Adult and Veteran Services if you have any questions about applying any educational benefits to your student's account. In order to continue to receive these programs that we have mentioned every year, you need to maintain eligibility. Scholarship eligibility has its own renewal criteria. If you log onto your Flashline account and hover over the name of the scholarship, it's going to display renewal criteria you will need to meet in order to keep those scholarships. The same thing with our federal programs and satisfactory academic progress. The federal government requires students to be in compliance in order to receive federal aid. If a student drops below a certain GPA or withdraws from all their classes on a consistent basis and do not have a high enough completion rate, you may be cited for academic progress. You do have the opportunity to appeal if you are cited for academic progress. Financial aid award letters will be mailed in mid-March and can be viewed on your Flashline account. Going forward after your freshman year, you will not get a paper award letter. You would simply view your awards on Flashline. On your award letter, you can see which awards are offered to you and which ones have already been accepted for you, like your federal Pell Grant, for example. And you may see how much you can borrow in that Parent Plus loan. The total amount is after you have taken your cost of attendance, subtracted all of your financial aid that the student has already been offered, such as your loans, scholarships, and grants, and then that remaining need is where we would determine the number of what you can borrow in the Parent Plus loan or an alternative loan. We are also going to have a separate section on the award letter that shows any outside scholarships that your student has received from the outside resources. Again, we take the cost of attendance minus your total financial aid, and what's left determines the student's eligibility for what to borrow in a Parent Plus loan or an alternative loan. If you have any additional questions about the programs offered at Kent State University, please contact our office at 330-672-2972 or visit our website at www.kent.edu/financial aid.